Since the dawn of history, man has yearned to fly. Yet it was the 20th century that has been witness to the realization of this, one of his oldest dreams.
It's almost 100 years since the beginning of the new age of flight. Since that time, aviation has undergone remarkable changes. At first spurred on by the determination and daring of a few individuals, the First World War was to be the catalyst for development that saw the birth of the aircraft as a machine of war. But the potential of the aeroplane had also been seen as a benefit to mankind, and the notion of transporting people across continents was born. Soon it was the age of trailblazers, the Lindberghs, Kingsford Smith, Wiley Post, Amelia Earhart, pioneers and daring deeds, with the development of aviation steadily progressing. The helicopter, until 1939, just an impractical dream. Igor Sikorsky made the first major progress, which earned him the title of father of the modern helicopter. If any event in the 20th century contributed to the rapid development of flight, it was the Second World War. It moved us from the infancy of aviation into an era of development unprecedented in other areas of science and technology. The need, not just to fly, but to go higher, further and faster, spurred on development to new, frightening levels. The advent of the jet engine occurred almost simultaneously in Germany and Great Britain. Ernst Heinkel's HE-178 heralded the way, whilst in Great Britain, Frank Whittle's engine took the lead. It was to be the harbinger of a new era of fighter aircraft, as well as heralding the jet age. The Second World War spawned the development of heavy bombers. They were to wreak havoc and destruction far beyond anything the human race had ever thought it could imagine. Then the world entered the nuclear age. Orville Wright commented during the First World War that it was his hope, and the hope of his brother Wilbur, that they were giving the world an invention that would make further wars practically impossible. History proved him wrong. Following the end of the Second World War, the new technologies were used to develop the world's first jet passenger aircraft, the Comet. However, withdrawn from service due to structural failures, Boeing seized the opportunity and developed the 707. The military sector was also spurred on by a new kind of war, the Cold War, with the East and West in a constant technological struggle. Under the principal guidance of Sikorsky, the helicopter continued to be developed into a highly sophisticated flying machine. And a struggle was beginning another era in the history of flight. Meanwhile, Boeing evolved an aircraft which became another milestone in aviation history, the 747. The 60s was a time of incredible aviation achievement. André Tourcar powered Concorde 001 into the air, followed just 5 weeks later by Brian Trubshaw with Concorde 002. Meanwhile, in the Soviet Union, Andrei Tupolev's success with the Tu-144 was certainly underplayed by the media in the West, for it beat the Anglo-French Concordes into the air by a clear 3 months. The age of supersonic flight had arrived. Since that time, relatively little development has occurred in civil aviation. But now, as we approach the next millennium, the launch platform for 21st century passenger flight is clearly SST and the wide-bodied jet. A great resurgence of interest has occurred in SST, and British Aerospace has recently completed a re-lifing program of all British Airways Concordes, ensuring at least another 20 years of service. Research, which will continue into the 21st century, is being conducted on a variety of new generation aircraft. The ESRP, European Supersonic Research Programme, which involves original partners British Aerospace and Aerospatiale. With huge potential costs involved, the need to form consortiums is essential. Surprisingly, Russia has again entered the SST marketplace by totally refurbishing one of its supersonic Tu-144s. In conjunction with NASA and other prominent American aviation names, Tupolev's 144 is already serving as a trials platform for a new generation supersonic aircraft. Having vindicated itself and dispelling all earlier reliability doubts, Tupolev's last great achievement will most certainly live well into the next century. The significant increase in SST-related activity around the world, for example, the launching of ambitious studies in Europe, the USA, and even surprisingly Japan, all point to the growing viability of a future SST. The resolve on the part of the world's major manufacturers to be in place in anticipation of international cooperation by the beginning of the 21st century is a clear indication that the original thinking behind the Russian and Anglo-French concepts was sound. With a variety of immense problems to overcome, whatever shape the final result might have, it would be at least the year 2025 before any such aircraft would enter service. In subsonic passenger transport, the Boeing company had envisaged as long ago as the late 1980s the need for another breed of long-range, high-capacity airliners. They began the development of an aircraft originally designated the 767X. Now redesignated the 777, Boeing has formed a special division to further the concept, and in May 1991 signed an agreement with Japanese manufacturers Mitsubishi, Fuji, and Kawasaki to produce 20% of the 777 structure. In June 1994, the prototype took to the air, and a new wide-bodied jet joined the already large Boeing family of passenger aircraft. The 777 has become the largest twin-engine passenger carrier, with the largest of its 3 variants able to transport up to 550 people. It is Boeing's first passenger aircraft to utilize the latest fly-by-wire system, an effortless flying system developed from previous military technology. In June 1995, it entered service, from the beginning impressing the 18 companies that, by the end of that year, had placed orders for nearly 250 aircraft. Competition has always been strong between the Boeing giant and its main European competitor, Airbus Industry, who in 1967 initiated the A300 program. Since then, the Airbus family has grown to staggering proportions, with well over 2,000 aircraft ordered from its 7 current models. But competition is hotting up as we approach the next millennium. Well beyond the drawing board phase, Airbus Industry are developing a new aircraft to compete with Boeing's 777, the A3XX. Currently envisaged to carry over 500 passengers in 2 classes, with a larger all-economy layout accommodating up to 850, this 4-engined long-haul double-decker airliner will further revolutionize passenger air transport. Whilst discussions amongst the Airbus Industry partners and Boeing on a possible joint project remain inconclusive, the A3XX studies continue. But with the potentially higher passenger loads, the problem of airport terminal congestion will become major, and airports will need to adapt. One likely answer is the microprocessor embedded into a card, which would give an automatic contact-free information exchange between passengers and the card. Powered by the magnetic field of the reader, the environmentally friendly card is passed by a sensor on the check-in desk. Check-in would be via a touchscreen menu, and the printout would give all personal boarding information. Baggage could also be integrated with the same chip, and through a specially designed 3-dimensional tunnel reader program, in about a second, your baggage could be routed more efficiently and quickly to or from the aircraft. Tracking the chip would instantly locate the luggage as it passed through various stations, enabling multiple identification. Science and technology will be increasingly called upon in many ways to play its part in the safe and efficient flow of future air traffic. At the turn of the century, the aeroplane will have been with us for nearly 100 years. In practical terms, the helicopter has been with us for only 60. Considering its short lifespan, the rapid development of vertical flight is probably the most impressive of all in aviation. The standard for civil helicopters at the turn of the century looks as though it will be set by the S-92 Helibus, descended from a highly successful military helicopter at its production peak. It will be the sole civilian heir to 15 years of continual development and improvement to the Black Hawk. Originally designated the Growth Hawk, the cost-effectiveness of this helicopter will compete favorably with short-haul, low-capacity aircraft. Carrying up to 19 passengers or 7,000 pounds of cargo a distance of 400 miles, the range, speed and payload will lend itself to many applications, including offshore services, passenger operations and priority freight delivery. Search and rescue and aeromedical versions are also planned. The first of 5 scheduled prototypes is expected to fly in early 1998, with a final certification expected in the year 2000. Its forebear, the H-60 Black Hawk, has played a major role in the military sector since the 80s and has become the standard by which all other helicopters are judged. Adapted to suit the needs of the Navy, the Seahawk variant. And for search and rescue, the Nighthawk, bristling with sophisticated technology. Still well ahead of its time, the latest military version, the H-60K, will see the Black Hawk playing a major role for at least another 2 decades. Designed specifically for special operations, this highly evolved version of a family of already over 20 variants first flew in late 1990. Designed to fulfill the tasks of insertion, extraction, reconnaissance, intelligence gathering and light attack in hostile territory, the K went into active training service with the 160th Special Operations Group in 1994. Ed Dinsmore, the project test pilot, reveals some of the K's secrets.
Multi-mode radar, which provides the pilot with terrain avoidance and terrain following radar information, as well as radar and obstacle avoidance. This unit here, hanging below it, is the thermal imaging unit called the forward-looking infrared, or the FLIR. It's really not forward-looking. It has 360 degrees of swivel, but that's the terminology that's been utilized for it. These 2 sensors are quite important, and I don't like to refer to them as sensors as much as windows, because during a low level or low visibility conditions, flying either nighttime or in fog, snow, rain, sleet, the pilot no longer has the spatial orientation from looking out the windows that he had previously, okay? He has to rely on his horizontal and vertical situation indicator, and he has all that information going to the right side of the brain, or the right hemisphere of the brain. But he doesn't have the spatial orientation that he received from his windscreens. Now, in this system, we've provided him with that spatial orientation through the radar, through the forward-looking infrared, through the digital map, which I'll show you later, and through his ANVIS night vision goggles and the flight director and vertical situation indicator that is provided to that through the ADSS system.
This is the business office of the MH-60K, and this is where everything is obviously displayed to the pilot. As you can see, it's a fully integrated glass cockpit with 2 multi-function displays in front of each pilot, plus a data input table right below it on the console. The center portion of the instrument panel is a cluster of backup analog instruments, and those are only used in a situation of, dire straits. What I'd like to show you now is exactly how, as I was speaking earlier, the situational awareness is presented to the pilot, and then superimposed on that is the spatial orientation, which satisfies the other half of his brain. And we'll go to the vertical situation indicator first. And as you can see, this is a normal vertical situation indication display. It provides the pilot with information on pitch and roll, airspeed, and his altitude information. This is very similar to instruments that have been in planes for years. For example, the analog backup instrument in the center cluster. Okay, that's the first layer of information that the pilot has. The second layer would be his flight plan information, his mission plan, and to give the guidance to the heading he's supposed to be on, the altitude and the airspeed that he's supposed to be on. That symbol is this symbol right here that just appeared when I engaged the approach arm. That gives him pitch information, it gives him heading information, and we also have a collective cue which will give him altitude information. The pilot superimposes the small aircraft onto that symbology, and it will maintain his flight plan and his altitude and airspeed required to do his mission. Now the third information is the window that I was talking about, the sensor. What we're going to look at is how the FLIR is displayed to him. So we'll return here and turn on the video for the FLIR. Okay, now now he has the window to the outside, which I was talking about earlier in the walk around. And the interesting thing about the way that it is implemented in this aircraft is that everything is proportionally correct. In other words, you can see here that there's some trees here and trees here, and there's a gap here. If I chose to fly through that gap to maintain my low profile over the ground, the vertical situation indicator and the FLIR picture are proportionally the same. In other words, I know from just looking at this that I can fly this aircraft through this gap. So now I have satisfied the right side of the brain in that I have my vertical situation indicator, I have my mission pointers telling me which way to go, and now I have my window to the outside, which allows me to see what is actually in front of me. Next, I'd like to show you the horizontal situation indicator and how we layer the information on that and utilize the digital map display. We'll go to the horizontal situation indicator, and as you can see, it's just basically the compass with the heading that the aircraft is on, just like the analog instrument of old. And that's the first layer. The second layer of information would be the flight director or the mission plan. On here you see that we have a mission plan of 7 legs. The pilot, that gives the pilot the information of where he's going to next, what his headings are going to be relative to his present position. So his situational awareness is brought up one more level. Now what I'd like to show you is the digital map display and how the second window to the outside world is turned on for the pilot. Okay, this is the digital map display. I still have my flight plan information, I still have my compass, I have my aircraft position, and now I have a plan view of the terrain that's around me. Okay, I can obviously see that.
However, the Sikorsky team have not been content to rest on the Black Hawk laurels. As long ago as 1981, Sikorsky received a request from the US Army to explore a new concept. Initially designated the LHX, it saw over the following 14 years countless modifications to suit the ever-changing role of the military. In 1991, beating off competition, the US Army issued a contract to build 4 validation prototypes to the Boeing Sikorsky team. This was later reduced to 3 and then to 2 by the end of 1994. Spiraling costs and the need to combine a wide variety of technologies again proved that the future of aviation can only be in the hands of the consortium. Following final US government approval, the LHX, now redesignated the RAH-66 Comanche, was rolled out in May 1995. Just over 7 months later, in January 1996, the Comanche lifted off from the Sikorsky Flight Test Center at West Palm Beach, Florida. The final version, equipped with the most sophisticated armaments and technology, is already being regarded as the information highway of the future battlefield. Simulated flights reveal its potential.
Yeah, okay, we got mission release.
Gear coming up to the right, here we go.
Clear to the right, swing right.
Entering operations area. I'm going weapons hot. Lasers hot, gonna bring the FLIR up.
Opticals on, I'm gonna scan. Here we got chips, we got trucks on the road. I'll check they got UN markings. Yep, 2 large vehicles and 4 MV escorts. We got a positive ID on the UN.
Okay, you want to send that back?
Okay.
Let's head on up the next waypoint.
Going to unmask. We get a surge coming out. Now, I got a line of sight and I got targets.
Okay.
Looks like we've got a vehicle going to remask.
I'm gonna check review here. We got a line of vehicles out on that bluff.
I confirm vehicles.
Got a confirmation artillery is ready. Doors are deploying.
Unmasking now.
There goes small fire.
Chaff out.
We got laser countdown. 3, 2, 1.
Good shot, got it.
We got the RE.
Let's go remask.
Let's get out of here.
In the entire history of military aviation development, there has been no period of expansion greater than the last decade and a half of the 20th century. In the 21st century, the skies above the battlefields will play host to a variety of revolutionary military aircraft. As a replacement for America's aging F-15 fighter, the F-22, developed by Boeing Lockheed Martin, is a fast, agile and stealthy fighter that will take over the air superiority role with Air Combat Command in the year 2004. The $11.5 billion contract was awarded to the team in 1991. By 1995, the final design was approved, and production of over 400 F-22s will begin in late 1998, with completion of the contract expected in the year 2012. Also under current design and development at Boeing is the innovative Joint Strike Fighter, envisaged as a replacement for several aircraft currently in service. A concept that incorporates knowledge gained from not only the commercial 777 airliner, but the B-2 bomber and the F-2 air superiority fighter.
Come up with a whole new concept about how you build a fighter airplane. Most airplanes are built with a fuselage and you bolt the wings on. What we've attempted to do here is to come up with a wing that we fasten the propulsion system underneath and have the wing be the major structural element of the airplane. The Stovall variant is one of the significant drivers to the configuration. For that Stovall variant, we've selected a direct lift concept, which is really an evolution of the Harrier concept. That's a simple approach, it's a proven approach, we know it'll work, and as a result, we think it'll be very affordable.
Worldwide sales of the Joint Strike Fighter are expected to be in the order of 3,000, with the British Ministry of Defence already investing in the programme as a possible replacement for the ageing Royal Navy Harrier. But with its unique operational characteristics, the Harrier's future is not necessarily in doubt. Its wide range of variants and the multitude of roles it performs have resulted in a continuing production requirement that will ensure the Harrier presence well into the next century. Another well-proven European fighter that has appeared in 5 common variants is the Tornado. With a midlife modification to the GR1 variant, incorporating global positioning satellite navigation, thermal imaging airborne laser, and a host of weaponry, the GR4 represents a major upgrade providing covert operations capability to meet the threats of the late 90s and early 21st century. Able to maintain combat air patrol for many hours, its brother, the F3 variant, armed with 4 short-range and 4 long-range air-to-air missiles, utilizes a long-range search capability with its interception radar, which can successfully engage targets at beyond visual range. Designed to meet the requirements of the 4 European partner nations, nearly 6 years of development work reached fruition in March 1994, when the latest European fighter, the EF-2000, commonly known as the Eurofighter, took to the air. The threat to European security still exists. Yet despite the military reductions, the countries of the former Soviet Union still retain large forces, including air forces equipped with various derivatives of the MiG family, such as the MiG-21 Fishbed. And the Sukhoi family, in particular the new Su-25. By the turn of the century, the current in-service aircraft of the UK, Germany, Italy and Spain, tasked with air superiority, will be life expired and replacements needed. The Eurofighter 2000 has been fully evaluated against alternatives such as Rafale and enhanced versions of the F-15, F-16 and F-18. It's been identified as the only aircraft to meet the air defense requirements of the 4 European nations well into the next century. The fighter aircraft marketplace of the East or West will be a lucrative one in the coming years. Although committed to the Eurofighter program, British Aerospace has also entered into a joint venture agreement with Saab of Sweden to market, adapt, manufacture and support export variants of the well-proven Gripen combat aircraft. The first battle-ready Gripen squadron is already in operation with the Swedish Air Force. Combat performance and mission availability are the key factors that will ensure a prominent place for the Gripen in Sweden's 21st century marketplace. Also, with a view towards exports as well as satisfying the home market, the new French Rafale from Dassault, a highly sophisticated fighter for the 21st century, bristling with the latest technology and weaponry. In America, the F-18 continues to be developed with the E and EF variants. In the Far East, Asia has also become a contender for this lucrative market, with China offering its Q5 variants. At the turn of the century, the shopping list for those countries that can afford to buy the plethora of fighter aircraft that will be available is staggering. With competition hotting up on both sides of the Atlantic, as well as in the East, the need to recoup costs and, where possible, to take a bigger slice of the fighter market has become paramount. Lockheed's F-117A stealth strike fighter, its true capabilities, still a well-guarded secret, will be further developed, as will Northrop Grumman Boeing's B-2 stealth bomber. 21 B-2 stealth bombers have been built, and all are assigned to the 509th Bomb Wing. The combination of stealth technology, satellite-guided weaponry and range capability that enables it to reach anywhere in the world from its US base has given the USA a mammoth lead in the realms of aerial strike capability. Although the fighter market and stealth technology has dominated recent aircraft development, the role of the bomber has continued to be seen as an essential element of the United States Armed Forces and will continue to be so for the foreseeable future. The conventional technological advancements made in this area of aerial warfare have also been staggering. The B-1B, developed by the Boeing Defense and Space Group, is no exception. Capable of flying at high subsonic speed at extremely low altitudes, the B-1B relies on its automatic terrain-following radar, electronic jamming equipment, infrared countermeasures, and other highly sophisticated systems to detect, evade, or hit enemy defenses. Carrying conventional as well as nuclear bombs, yet capable of firing cruise missiles, it can also easily perform the role of long-range sea surveillance, mine-laying, and anti-submarine patrol. Able to perform penetrating missions at high speeds and low altitudes, the variable wing concept enables the B-1B a much shorter takeoff and escape time when under threat or attack. Once in flight, the wings can be swept aft for high-altitude supersonic cruise or low-level high subsonic penetration. The B-1B's continued development ensures its place in any conflict likely to occur up to and beyond the year 2020. As the 20th century draws to a close, it is estimated that over 22 nations, including Iraq, North Korea, China and Russia, have between them more than 10,000 theater ballistic missiles, with the threat of their use growing daily. To counter first strike tactics, aerospace industry leaders Lockheed Martin, working together with Boeing, are well into the evaluation phase of an airborne laser system. Mounted in a highly modified 747-400 freighter operating at high altitudes, the ABL, or airborne laser, will acquire and track missiles in boost flight, accurately point an optically aimed high-energy megawatt-class laser, and destroy the missile long before it penetrates friendly airspace. As long ago as the late 70s, the principle was proven when a high-energy laser beam successfully destroyed missiles in flight. In those days, it was known as Reagan's Star Wars concept. Although still a concept, all the technologies are in place, and a full development and production program is likely to begin as early as the year 2003. A 100 years ago, as the Wright Brothers dreamed of flight, their imagination could not have conceived such futuristic images. From the 50s onwards, man has looked to the skies and believed he has seen strange objects. At first called flying saucers, and then, as shapes changed, unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, it seems that in reality, the skies of our 21st century world will, after all, play host to a variety of strange shapes. Perhaps it's the way that man has developed his fantasy images into reality that has influenced the shape of things to come. This is Cypher, currently undergoing test flights. Easily launched from confined areas, this pilotless, highly maneuverable reconnaissance aircraft can be moved quickly to observe new areas of interest. Seen here operating at low altitude, Cypher is able to move into position and downlink data to a ground center for tactical evaluation. The vertical takeoff and landing capability and its ability to operate from unprepared sites reduces logistical requirements in combat and increases mission flexibility for the tactical commander. But this is just one of many new shapes.
The X-36 program is a prime example of innovation, and innovation is one of the things that McDonnell Douglas does best. Through innovation, we learn to build products that are more affordable, and we will create partnerships with our customers and suppliers that continue to support affordability and promote innovation. In daring to be different, the X-36 team has come up with a new design that could change the shape of aircraft for many years to come.
The advanced research model lacks any vertical or horizontal tail and uses a new split aileron and engine thrust vectoring concept for flight control. Little is known of its other attributes, but what is known is that a virtual cockpit complete with head-up displays using video cameras will enable the pilot to operate the stealthy aircraft from a ground-based station. A total of 25 flights are initially planned during a 6-month flight test program, paving the way for a new generation of stealth fighter and a new launch platform for 21st century aviation. The U-2, the TR-1, and later the SR-71 Blackbird, so important during the Cold War years of the 20th century, have all lived out their technological usefulness. The development of a new spy in the sky has resulted in a highly advanced machine of the future that will set the trend for future aircraft design.
Well, I know that all of you feel like you've waited long enough and you're anxious to see the result of what you've been hearing about this afternoon. So I think it's time that you get a look at the newest star in the world of airborne reconnaissance. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Dark Star.
The futuristic Dark Star is a high-altitude, unmanned aircraft for reconnaissance in highly defended areas. It will operate up to 500 nautical miles from base and stay on station for more than 8 hours at altitudes in excess of 45,000 feet. Dark Star's stealth capability and highly classified electronic eavesdropping equipment will work as part of an integrated airborne and ground-based network. During the 20th century, man not only learned the art of flying, he developed it to extraordinary heights. All the great pioneers are gone now, their names so synonymous with 20th century aviation, their boyhood dreams fulfilled, a legacy left. As a new century dawns, their dreams, like those of the Wright brothers, now inspire others. And as man's capabilities develop, so develops his power to dream of his own ability to fly.